You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream. This is AFTERBUZZ TV for Boardwalk Empire. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Boardwalk Empire news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Boardwalk Empire.
Hey everybody, happy Sunday evening. It is Tamara Berg here with Bethany Graber, Kevin Undergaro. Did I get that wrong or something?
It's
Bethany
okay.
Gaber.
It's Jaber.
Bethany
Jaber.
Gaber.
Yeah, Jaber. Jaber.
I've actually never heard anybody say your last name before.
It's
I know,
okay.
just read
I
it.
always mark
Or no,
it and
I've
go
heard
Bethany
someone else.
Gaber.
I thought it was
But no,
Graber.
Bethany
No, it's not like
Jaber.
people walk around calling each other by their first and last name. It's not really common, so it's okay. Don't worry.
Say it again.
You would not be the
Jaber.
first.
Jaber.
Yeah, Jaber.
Jaber.
Yeah.
Jaber.
Yeah.
Not Jaber.
You could say
I couldn't say
Jaber
it in the French
if
way
you
if I wanted
really
to.
wanted to, but it's Jaber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jaber. Okay, Bethany.
Thank you.
And DJ Jesse Janity in the booth. So Boardwalk Empire, Episode 8, Season 2, Two Boats and a Lifeguard. But you think, Bethany, that it should be named?
I think it should be called Who's Your Daddy?
You like that better?
Yeah, I like it better because I think it addresses each man and his role as a father.
And there was a lot of the dad stuff going on
Yeah.
for sure tonight.
Yeah, because Nucky kind of like grew up a little bit and decided to be a dad. And I think they examined the rest of the men too. So it should. I think two lifeboats.
Two boats and a lifeguard.
is poetic, but it really should be called Who's Your Daddy?
I like it. I think that's very clever. So we started off the episode. We'll get to Nucky, but I want to talk a little bit about Jimmy, and because there was a lot going on with him tonight in this episode, with him sort of coming of age as well, or even more.
Can we
moving into the role.
clarify last week? Tim, you and I were wondering his last
right, we
line to
talked
Nucky
about this.
before he was shot was.
Just
Bethany, what was the line?
Well, I think no, I actually remember the line before that. It was he like walked up to him in that like dark black suit.
yeah.
And before he said,
something like, "You have to choose or make a
Right.
decision."
You just have to make a decision.
and we were unsure what it meant, and if maybe he knew Nucky wasn't going to be shot or whatever. And you really clarified it for us.
I think it goes back to season 1, in which he, at the end of that season, he was saying to him, "You have to choose. You can't be half a gangster."
Right.
And so in this episode, he kind of does.
And this is why the writing is so brilliant, because I'm sure when he says it's cut my drinking in half, it's a tie back to that, and so
That
many
is
other and in
poetic.
so many other ways. But thank you for clarifying that. We were wondering last week what that
You're
was.
welcome.
Yeah, you can't be half a gangster, and it's his last words to him.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, I told you so,
Yep.
and now you're gonna die. So, but anyway, we'll talk about Jimmy. But I wanted to clarify that for the listeners.
Yeah. So, but we were talking about Jimmy and the fact that, again, the dark suit is really present in all of this. But he has the issue with, I can't remember who it is that comes in and tweaks him on the cheek. Was that the butcher?
Yes, that's
the
the
butcher who came in, whose name
That's
we cannot
our
remember.
Jewish butcher.
Manny, yeah. But I can't remember his last name. Well, he's got some unpronounceable last name or complicatedly pronounceable last name. So, Jimmy going, well, you keep treating me like a child. You keep insisting I'm a child. You got to understand I'm a man. And then, by the end of the episode, Jimmy throws his buddy over the rail, showing what a man he is to that guy. Right?
Yeah, he does. I mean, I'm trying to find the words for it, because it's just Manny comes and he challenges him a little bit. He keeps bugging him about the $5,000, which, is a lot of money, but it's not that much money.
Not in their world.
Not in their world. And Manny also has this beautiful monologue about hunting and butchers and venison.
Yes.
And
I tell you, it's amazing because it speaks so much to Jewish pragmatism and I think their culture, how it's like, no, this is business, but we're not wasteful. Mm-hmm. And how, unfortunately, and I can say as someone who is Irish and Italian, like the Irish and Italians back then, they were crazy. I mean, they still are. And again, not stereotyping all of them, but a lot of the mobsters, they lost their head. They would do crazy things. Whereas the smarter ones, Jewish, Irish, Italian, black, or otherwise, were the ones who just kept a cool head. It was all about just business.
Right.
And so we see this in Rothstein, which I love, and we'll talk about him later. But we see it with the butcher, where all we've seen from the beginning is he seems like this very mean butcher, like a madman. Right. That just is going to chop everyone apart. But now it's this, look at you, this is what you crazy wasps do, is or you crazy white people, you just go out and just shoot animals to have trophies. Big shots. Wearing your big tacky suits and with all your women all over you and just all that. Whereas for him, it's business.
It's almost as if his ego is out of the equation, which I don't believe that is true for anyone ever.
Most of the gangsters weren't, but the better ones, it was.
They're able to see it as a business. You're absolutely right. And he goes through this gorgeous monologue, and I think it hits home for Jimmy because he says, you didn't pull the trigger yourself. I mean, that's basically what he says.
Right.
You sent somebody else to do your father's bidding. And so I think that's what causes him to throw him over the rail, to be like, what you, and he does it in such a public way. I mean, he could do it in a private setting, but he chooses to really shame him publicly, which is so dangerous.
He was just, Jimmy he keeps evolving into this gangster role.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you. And so the butcher, Manny, really preyed on his insecurities by saying, "Oh, you're a boy," and it's basically goes back to what the mother had said to him.
Yes.
Remember, the mother was like, "No, you have to go get tough," and they kill that guy and they scalp him. And this is basically the same kind of reaction, like, "Okay, you want to see what a boy I am?" And hurls the guy right over.
Yeah.
And
I'll show you.
Which is interesting because that guy Manny doesn't look like a guy that you play around with. He's a bear.
No.
But Jimmy, shows him, "You want to see how strong I am? I'll show you how strong I am." And so it's just very interesting.
But he's almost, by throwing him over the rail, he's acting immaturely.
And emotional. And emotional.
Impulsively.
And impulsive, maybe. Or maybe, I don't know. None of us would know how to behave in that world. But, we have like the mother who's giving him the advice, you have to strike back hard. Maybe it is a way to communicate with him. To say, wait, well, because when Doyle says to him, "Hey, listen, don't be saying that Jew stuff." Basically, Doyle's like saying, "No, that down there, he's the boss, he's the scary one," and Jimmy's basically saying, "Oh no, didn't you just see the brass ring's now mine?
Yeah,
I'm the scary one. You can't. I'm a full gangster. I run the show." And so, yes, it was emotional, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
It may be the statement that he needed to make.
Well, the other thing that I was seeing was in this progression of Jimmy, this episode was, he's talking on the phone to whoever it was and said, about the fact that Nucky didn't get killed. And his wife overhears the fact that her husband ordered the hit on Nucky. And so sort of the cat's out of the bag. I mean, she knew he was a rum runner and she knew he did bad things, but now she really knows what he's doing. And she goes off on a whole. It's
just amazing. And again, speaks to that when they talk about, the onions and I'm
artichokes.
I'm an artichoke. But the bottom line is all these characters have so many great layers. So on the one hand, you see him fully committed to being a hardcore gangster.
Yeah.
By throwing Doyle over the thing, and I actually think it was a good move to show the butcher who's boss, and because I know with the mobsters, one of the big things is don't ever come around us saying we owe you money. It's a big thing, and you've seen it in Hollywood's version of The Godfather and the Goodfellas movies or whatever. But I knew it to be true too. You don't, and now he keeps about the next thing is he's going to get killed just for asking for the money, and that's just kind of how it goes. So finishing that point and going over to the wife, so even though he's full-time gangster, it's very interesting that they have this exchange where she calls him out. Why did we even get? He says, "Why did we get married?" And she said, "Because we had a baby and."
And you pushed me.
Yeah, because we had to, because that's what society said. But really, it's not what I wanted to do. And you don't talk to me anyhow. Yeah. And then he tells her everything. He's completely honest with her.
I love that. It was one of my favorite scenes tonight.
That he went off to her.
Because there are a couple of couples in this series that have been staying together, and I love it when they're actually really honest with each other, because it reminds us why they're together. And again, that he's so layered that that's why he's a very cool character.
Well, and I think that's very uncharacteristic of the time and the situation is, these not only couples, because, it was the man is in business and the woman keeps the home,
especially
right?
in
And
the
they're
mob
very
thing,
separate.
too, it was
and
always.
in the mob, even more so. You never tell them
ask
what's
questions.
going on.
Yeah, nope.
So I think it's really an interesting take here on this show to show it that way.
And I think Angela, Jimmy's wife, has a lot to compete with dealing with Jimmy's mother.
Jimmy, we know that. We talk about it every week.
Yeah.
What was very interesting, she said, "What changed your mind about killing Nucky?"
Yes.
He said, "My mother changed my mind." And I think that's the first crack in in the mom's foundation.
Absolutely.
Because
in what way?
In the way that he's kind of looking out into space saying, you know what, maybe it's Lady Macbeth. Maybe she's this just master manipulator who really isn't giving me the best advice at the end of the day.
Maybe I'm doing things I don't necessarily. I think this is for me the first time in the series where Jimmy has acted inauthentically or done something that he really didn't want to do.
Yes.
It's like, I mean,
with the ordering on the head of Nucky. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that it's this crack in the foundation that you're saying here that is going to separate him from his mother just a little bit, because he's like, whoa, I'm acting not authentically. I'm not. I think it, like, where most people when they don't act authentically, it's like it hurts them a little bit. I think for Jimmy, it's like it's a dagger. It's a dagger to his soul.
And when this went down, I wrote down who's the half gangster now. You know, because. But you know what? He should be a parallel to Nucky, because Nucky really was the father to him, and he's really the one in Nucky's image, and that's what we see. We see the similarities between the both of them.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to go back to episode 1, it would be as if they have switched roles.
Yes,
because Jimmy,
Nucky and Jimmy.
Yes, because Jimmy would be the one with the family and just like home, trying to kind of figure things out a little bit,
right.
and Nucky was the gangster at the time, and so it's just
yes, indeed.
Complete opposites.
Yes, indeed. Now, what did you guys make of Jimmy's speech in the end, where he had his court around him?
Thank you.
And
covering that pretty face.
There you go.
See, now we can see you
and hear you. Jimmy's speech, where he has his court around him, sort of surrounds them. You were feeling something coming on. I heard you reacting to his.
You never want to watch anything with me because I'm a movie talker.
No, but we love that. That's AfterBuzz. But that's AfterBuzz because you're so excited and you just want to start commenting at the screen.
My sister and my husband are like, shh, and I'm like,
that's
no,
all right.
I'm like, don't do it.
So tell us. What were your thoughts?
What were you reacting to? What was that?
When he was giving his speech, what was it that I was reacting to? I mean, they were doing this kind of like lovely circular pan.
Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was beautiful.
Where they were kind of coming. The camera felt like it was coming under, so it was giving him so much power.
Yep.
And he was. But yet, at the same time, he wasn't saying anything profound. Do you know what I mean? He was like, this is my era. This is what's happening. This is what's new. But you could tell, like, deep inside that maybe he didn't feel that this was true.
He seemed very unsure of himself.
Yes.
Sort of psyching himself up.
Yeah.
He's very white, like a lot of this episode, wobbling around. Did you notice? Just almost zombie-like. Like he didn't know quite what to do. But when he got his moment, he basically said, Nucky kind of hogged all the pie to himself, but we're going to spread it out.
Yeah.
So he did at least get that out. But I agree with you that he he was very unsure of himself.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed seeing his moment with Richard.
Oh yes,
How
and
Richard's
we're gonna
like,
get your mask redone, and we're gonna get you a
Your
girl
face
and
fixed,
that.
and we're gonna get you a good life. And it's just great because Richard's like, congratulations. In other words, like Richard's life is still the same. Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about it as much, But
sorry to jump back that, but just to speak to like a lot of the times I feel like the camera lets the writing speak for itself. So I thought when something poetic happens, usually somebody's talking and the camera will come in a little bit. But this time I felt like it was moving so much and he was saying nothing. Do you know what I mean?
I tend to agree with you. I do. I agree. He was like, all right, you want me to say something? I'll say something. I agree.
Yeah. Sorry. I just find it ironic that like there's like so much movement happening when nothing's being spoken. And poor Harrow. I have to say, sorry, sidebar, I went to an amazing Halloween party and somebody was him for Halloween. And it was Harrow.
Oh, okay.
And it was I should have taken a picture of it because I actually thought it was him. To the point where I was like, oh wait, no, this is embarrassing. Like, I shouldn't say hi to you. That's weird. You're a character in a series. You're not actually a real person. Sorry.
That's funny. Okay, so let's move on to Van Alden. So, he there wasn't a lot of him tonight, but we did see some very key things happening with him. He hired a nanny from Scandinavia, I'm thinking.
Just wanted
right?
to work every single day.
Every single day. Okay, I'll give you half of a single Sunday in a month off.
Right.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, exactly. And then, went off to go do his thing. We see him at the boardwalk having lunch with one of his coworkers.
I want you guys to
right?
explain that to me. So police eat for free. He's like, we're a state, we don't take that. And the waiter walks away, or the cook, and he's left with his fellow agent, his junior agent.
Yeah.
New junior agent.
New junior.
Right.
And we've seen him and the other guy who got burned from the beginning of the season, and who obviously has been having the free lunches. And so then they have an interaction about it, and he talks about
the morality of it, basically, right? And how this is the wrong thing to do, and you shouldn't, and
you shouldn't
we
do it.
shouldn't, and you shouldn't, and we shouldn't. None of us should.
And the agent responded and said, "Can I speak
openly and freely?"
He said, yes, please do, even though he cut him off.
Yeah.
But what did he say? The agent.
The agent the first time.
When he said, "Can I speak freely?"
Oh, okay. When
basically, he said,
freely.
"I think what we're doing, it's we're sort of working against a very difficult tide. It's I'm feeling like we're a bit ineffectual."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that when I first got here. I was so inspired, and now not so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like Agent Van Alden, out of every character in this series, has changed the most. Has had the biggest character arc as far as like what he believes in and what he's choosing to do. And I think he agrees with him in that moment. I think he's like, you know what?
He crumples up the bill.
You're totally right, dude. Totally right.
Yeah. But is he changing, or was he testing him?
I don't know.
That's a great question.
Or
I don't know, but he does go home with money.
A big old bucket of
that
money.
He sticks behind a picture.
Mirror.
So clearly he's doing, he's doing something illegal. I would think to, he's taking some kind of payoffs. But I wonder why. Is it to give to his wife, or does he need that to support the baby?
I don't think he's giving it to his wife. I don't think his wife's.
Or will he? Is that the
anything to do
plan?
with
I mean,
him.
I wonder why.
I think we should stalk
not a greedy guy.
the writers
and find out.
track them down and be like, hey, what is Van Alden doing with this money? Because I just it's like a loose end right now.
It was interesting too, his kiss to the baby.
Yeah.
Just so uncomfortable. But he did. I was surprised he actually kissed the baby, but he did it.
He's
Baby Abigail.
He finally named her. And he is a father. He might not be the best father, but he's
providing.
He's providing. in a time when, you know, affection and therapy was not abundant.
No.
So he's doing the best he can.
Well, and you know, he's about to lose all of his power in a certain way because of the fact that he reported to the attorney general or the prosecuting attorney. I have this entire file on Nucky. I've been, you know, creating all of this backlog of information, and Nucky's about to step down. So he's sort of, you know, about to. I don't think he knows it yet, but he's potentially about to lose his power. So I think that could potentially change a lot of what's going on in his world.
It speaks so much to the time that we're living in now, in which, you know, I mean, he might not necessarily believe in prohibition, but he has a job because of it.
Right.
Like with so many of our politicians.
Right.
They don't necessarily agree with banning gay marriage, but it's their platform. And so it's something that they have to run on.
Right.
Because otherwise, how would they be a politician and have a job? And it's just the irony of like what you believe in and what you actually do. Very much like there was that. It was another one of my favorite moments where it was probably about a good like 35 minutes into it, and there was the two-faced man and lady.
Woman,
Again, halves. It goes
Yep.
back to that half a gangster, like all through it. I'm an onion. I'm an artichoke. I just, it's such, it's. I'm as a writer myself. I'm just astounded. That how much goes into this. And again, production design too. How much goes into the? I mean, again, we just saw some great sets, and I know I say this every week, but I'm like, man, I can't believe they justify this expense. HBO
Right.
does.
I'm so glad
for
that they do.
2.6
But
million
thank you,
people a week.
HBO, for doing it.
I know, but it's amazing that we're getting this much. I love to know how they make that work, where network shows will get, even the kind of mediocre ones will get 8 or 9 million. And the better ones get up to 20 million and aren't spending this much money, some of them. So it's crazy to me, but I'm so grateful.
Oh, absolutely.
But the writing is just, God, it's just so rich
I
and so layered.
wonder, I would love to speak with some of the writers because I'm wondering what like historical process they go through. I mean, there has to be like certain reading requirements, and like so you're all like historically like caught up on the same page.
Sure.
And I want to get that syllabi.
The Bible.
So then we can all read it.
Yeah, they will know. Then we'll be in on it.
Exactly. Then we'll be in on it. So I think, can we move on to Jimmy now? I mean, Nucky, rather?
Oh, hell yeah.
Because we've got a lot to cover with him. So opening and closing with him having a dream/hallucination that was very odd. You know, the baseball mitt, the kid shooting him.
The
in the
deer
opening.
with the,
Yeah, the
again,
dead
struggling
the
deer with a
stag.
big wound.
great symbolism with the deer, as the as Manny had talked about the deer, and then we hear about the horse later. There's very interesting, but yeah, very symbolic. All these
Right, and then when he comes out of it, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No,
when
please.
Nucky comes out of it, the doctor's wrapping his hand, and he goes, "Oh, stigmata,"
yeah.
Oh my. So talking to the doctor about taking away his alcohol license, and I just mentioned that because I think that's going to come up in an episode coming down the road. I read a little bit somewhere about that. But then, he's basically sitting and waiting for the state's attorney to come after him and start the process of, this not vixen, but this shark sort of state's attorney who, by the way, I found some information out on her. The actress who plays Esther, what's her last name? Reynolds, or I get it wrong every
She's
time. It's either
lovely.
Reynolds or she's what?
She's lovely.
Oh, yeah. Her name's Julianne Nicholson, and she was actually I recognized her from Law & Order Criminal Intent. Oh. She was on for, I think, a couple of seasons, and it was bugging me last week, and I was trying to figure out who she was, and because, of course, she looks so different in this than she does in current day casting things. Anyway, she was a model in Paris. That's how she started out her career, and she was born and raised in Medford, Massachusetts.
No way. What's her name?
No kidding.
What's her name?
Julianne Nicholson. So there you go.
Interesting, Tamara.
The minute I saw that, I couldn't wait to tell you, but I did wait for an entire
she's
week.
Born in 71, so she's
I'm sure she loves that on there.
She's a great
Can't avoid
actress.
it
She doesn't
anymore.
have to worry.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh wow. All right, we'll have to we'll have to get in touch with her
Yeah,
then, won't we?
I thought you might find that very interesting because that's
it's
where you're
funny
from.
to see she's
that area.
I'm older than her, and then Maria's a lot younger, so it's like right in the middle. Oh, Miss Nicholson, we will talk.
Yes,
That's very interesting. You know, it's great to see the women on this show. We, how strong. I mean, how strong the women are, and how layered. And we probably should just briefly touch on. We left out talking about the
Angie.
Yeah, and her new
And
lesbian
new
foray,
Louise,
and
her
this
new-
and this
her new
hippie
friend,
chick
yes.
from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which does anyone here have any idea? Was San Francisco already known as like kind of a hippie hotbed back then?
Not in the 20s.
Just a complete coincidence.
Yeah.
It's their way of just going.
This is what
wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it wasn't a place for.
I mean, it was the Barbary Coast. It was definitely a sort of soulless place, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. A gay hub yet.
It was just maybe an artist place.
Yeah, I would say probably artists.
So what were like? I know in the 50s had the beatniks. The 60s had the hippies. In the 20s, were there like
flappers? The flappers.
Well, I thought the flappers were just partiers. Did the flappers stand for anything? I mean, like,
No.
That's what I mean. Who
like,
were the artists of the time that like? Was there any kind of name for them? I'm just wondering because it's just so interesting. It looked like an episode of Mad Men in the 60s. When you see the one character the young female who goes off and goes into different parties with all the hippies, like
it's true, yeah.
Against the
She
backdrop
does that, of all of that
of
It's true.
Camelot,
Right.
And I love seeing it here. I love seeing all
of
these free spirits and artists.
the counterculture.
Yes, it's great.
Rebel sort
very
of
cool. I'd love
character.
to know how much of that exists. I'm sure it did because some of the arts that came out in the 20s, the real art, not the pop art, but the
Fine artists.
yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just
No,
interesting.
I mean they exist. There's always someone somewhere. There's always some artist community. I think we just have to like do some research and find out where the heck they're hanging
I love
out
this.
back then.
I just again love the similarities to today. Well, it seems like she's found her special someone. Anyway,
Yes.
I'm sure we'll see more of it as these weeks go on.
I hope so. It's one of those things, though, on the show that's kind of it's a little unnerving that someone could be a central character like this Julianne Esther's character in the show. Big important role last week, and this week very C level as far as how many times we talked to her and how often she was in the episode. And I want to see her again, so I'm hoping that she'll show up again. Although Nucky stepping down.
Maybe. We still have a trial to get through.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
But the stakes are changed, I think, in this. So it's one of those things about the series that you kind of don't know who might get killed off at any moment and who might, whose arc might change.
Oh, let me ask you this.
dramatically.
I listened to. I'm a big fan of Howard Stern, as you know, and he has a show called Geek Time.
Okay.
That comes on once a week, and Geek Time always has like a recap of all the geeky TV shows. And they were bothered last week by the Irish killing, Slater killing the guy, and they felt like no, get me back to Nucky and the mob stuff. And I'm always outspoken about how Dexter forces some of the B characters to have their own stories, and they just annoy me because I only like stories either about Dexter or things that support Dexter, like Colin Hanks right now and Everjane almost are great, even though they're away from Dexter, but they support his story. So do you guys feel as though seeing Angela and her love interest in this weird world, does that take you out at all?
It takes me out a little bit only because we've done this storyline before. Like we did this last season.
Right.
She had
the photographer's wife.
But it's like then I feel silly being like, well, then she's a lesbian and she likes women, so of course she's going to have relationships.
She's going to have another
with
relationship.
women.
I just think they've got to bring it back to how that it affects Jimmy.
I agree.
One of the challenges that I have while we're watching this show, and we're always supporting each other while we're watching. Who's that guy? What's his name again? There are so many characters in this show, and it's one of the things that's hard for me personally because I'm kind kind of a passive viewer when I watch shows. I want not that I want every word spoken out to me and every storyline told to me, but if you're not going to give me some hints and advice here and there, it can be hard to follow. And so I love watching the characters develop. And I do enjoy seeing some things happen with the external characters, but they need to be connected to our mains, and that's really important. For me.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
And the other thing, like, I think I don't mind seeing the smaller like C&D storylines weave in. Those don't bother me so much. What bothers me is when there's no reversal, when there's no change of fortunes, and Angela's character hasn't really. She's just so placid all the time. Like there's
be patient.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll move.
It's been so she's been so 2-dimensional for me.
Well, we didn't need her really.
No.
So it was good. I think it was good that she just kind of stayed in her little prison raising the baby because it needed to be about the mother and Jimmy. So I think we're gonna be okay as long as it's not too much. I still liked. It didn't bother me because I'll tell you the Slater killing. Kind of did because God, more stuff I'm not gonna understand. But I did and I didn't mind seeing it. It was nice to see another perspective. But maybe Slater will bring us back to Nucky.
Well, right, but except in the end, I think it was the very last scene was between Slater and Nucky. We have to talk, and we think it's all about Nucky. About Owen sleeping with Margaret,
Slater
and Nucky knows,
well, right?
Yeah,
and he says, your friend from Ireland. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Your Irish friend. And you need to set up a meeting. We need to. So it's going to come back. And I happen to know that next week's episode, Nucky's going to be in Ireland.
Right. And so talking about Nucky, he looks at the board. They're playing the game, and he sees the ship.
Oh yeah.
And so clearly he wants to. Let's fly the coop. I got a good thing going.
Yep.
And let's go to Ireland. Let's go to the homeland and just be a family man.
Uh-huh.
And it seemed like when, in that moment, he tells the boy, you can call me Dad. And, off he's going to go. So we think.
Right. Off he's going to go and have the lovely life, except that then he's talking to Owen about, what's going on in Ireland with the IRA. I think we need to chat about it. So,
well, I think what I think what it'll be is to get safe passage over there.
Oh, you do?
I think so, and to set up a new life. I think there's this fantasy in his brain as he's going to go and live in Ireland and retire. Whitey Bulger, that was what everyone had alleged about him, is he went back to Ireland. So it's you hear that all the time. The Italians too. Well, yeah, I know. Actually, Lucky Luciano's last years were spent in Sicily.
Yes.
He left. He was forced out. But he went back. They all say they're going to go home. They're going to go home. I think
the proposition that Nucky said is just, I'm going to give you a bunch of money to get me safely to Ireland so I can live my life. I don't think so.
And I think with those guns. You might be right because of the guns.
Exactly. It was the guns and the fact that they keep laying in this thing about the IRA.
So
the IRA. It's been under lots of episodes. So I think there's something.
And it's very
that
cool.
That may be Nucky's intention, but I don't think it's absolutely.
Listen.
Yeah.
Eli warned Jimmy. He said, "My brother
is smarter than you."
Mm-hmm. And I mean. It feels like so Nucky, and again, to take the advice of Rothstein, another this amazing practical Jewish businessman who says, no, sit back. Let's not do anything. And I love the meeting I know we're jumping around a lot, but I love the meeting between the old guard, which was Nucky, Rothstein, and the real life gangster who used to be Capone's boss.
By far,
Jimmy, whatever his name is.
That's my favorite line of this episode was, looks like the pups have grown fangs, boys.
And but Rothstein is such an amazing businessman, and sometimes I bet, sometimes I bet, sometimes I don't bet at all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see a good bet, I bet it all. It's just amazing, and again, just that's a great businessman. See, and I'm thinking, with my just fine middle class upbringing. We don't think like that.
No.
We just think like,
I just gotta cover my bills. I just gotta make my note.
I gotta keep working. Gotta keep working. Gotta be active. Gotta keep it. But I love just the veterans, the real smart ones. They just sit back.
Yeah.
And they just wait. And so he tells him, let's just sit back.
I feel better now that you're saying this.
What? About your own life?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, please.
No, I was having a little bit of an episode today because I'm not going forward with another role, so I was getting cranky with it. And my reps were saying exactly what you're saying now, Bethany. Just sit back, relax.
You
it's
have
fine.
to.
Just be chill. But I'm like a little puppy, and I'm like, no, this is the one.
Yeah, no. We hear it all the time.
Sit back,
you know,
relax.
Maria's reps always will tell us, you know,
Yeah.
and they rep Ellen, and they'd say, listen, you can't will this stuff. It'll come. Just relax.
But I'm like a monkey in a cage right now, holding on, shaking it.
Of course. But again, the veterans of the world that just teams, the experienced businessmen, and the more I'm around them, and I'm very blessed to be around even billionaires that I'll go to dinner with, and I'll kind of study them, and they're so relaxed about their decisions.
He's talking about me.
He's talking about Tammy.
Yeah,
It's true.
But I love seeing it. And I Rothstein is so.
And that wisdom of patience, sort of, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, yeah, just again, where you're like a middle class person's all stressed, and I gotta, and they're so relaxed. And he says, so wouldn't it be interesting if Nucky were taking that advice to another level to say, not only am I sit back, let me roll over, let me make them think that I'm dead, and let them celebrate and be happy, so I can make my comeback. Do you guys want to take a call? We never take calls, and I get emails all the time that we should.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We have a bunch of them.
love that.
But do you want to take one?
Yeah.
No.
They're on. Caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm from Ontario, California.
Hi.
Andy.
I'm a long time listener. I love the show. I love what you guys did to it. I just have a question. This is for Kevin because I think he's like super sexy. But who is your favorite character on the show?
On this show? Oh, Nucky, by far.
Oh, really? Yeah, why?
Yeah, I'm a Buscemi fan, but I like that he says I'm a gentleman until proven otherwise. So he's tough when he needs to be, but he has a heart. So he's the one I root for.
And how about the others?
Well, after Nucky, I would say, geez, you guys have to help me out on this here.
I don't know.
Because I'm always rooting
know.
for him and anyone who's on his team.
But
the actors are, fantastic. It's just it's an A show. So I love all the actors, but the character I'm rooting for most is Nucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Jimmy by far, hands down. Today was a tough day for me because he's turning a little bit. He's getting mean.
Bethany has her crush on.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I do. I have a huge crush on him. I saw him at a party one time, and I didn't realize it was him. And he let me go into the ladies' room, and as I was like peeing, I was like, that was him! Oh my god! And you're right, Andy. Kevin is super sexy, but he has a beautiful, beautiful girlfriend. So
thank you for the compliment, though. Andy. Really made my Sunday.
Me, I like. I'm Margaret. I'm Team Margaret.
I like Margaret.
Okay.
I do too.
I love that because she has, talk about, arcs and growth. She's really grown. And the more we learn about her, the more we know that she's kind of made a journey. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens next with her.
Yeah, I like her. And again, because I like how her and Jimmy and Nucky are, even though they lose their way, they're still trying to be decent. Mm-hmm. You see that, and with a guy like Doyle, you don't see that. So there's characters.
No, but Doyle's a survivor, isn't he?
Oh, he's a total dirtbag.
He's just
he's great. He
suffers like one big injury every 4 or 5 episodes, but he stays alive.
He does so far. Andy, do you have a favorite character?
Our caller has disconnected.
We lost him. Okay,
sorry.
listen, because we're running out of time.
So much.
We should. As we can't take any more calls because we have to wrap through Nucky.
So 2 things I want to get to. One is the funeral. Just interesting, not funeral, but the wake. The laying out of his father's body, and that confrontation between Eli and Nucky. Eli going, can't you have some compassion? Can't you see that he was something else?
Right.
And Nucky going, are you kidding me? Did we have the same guy as a dad?
Realistic. I wrote down realist versus a romantic.
That's right. Yeah.
But what was interesting when Eli left, I liked seeing Nucky break down.
Became human.
Became human, right, and became more the romantic.
It just broke my heart. It totally
Right.
broke my heart watching him go for those shoelaces. But one of my the shots. I mean, you have Nucky in the forefront, and then Eli in the background, and then of course their father's laying there. But when it switched and it was facing them, did you notice that oval shaped frame with a man in it
behind?
Yeah,
on the wall?
but still sitting between them. It was
the father, right?
Yeah, it was so gorgeous. It was just it was
Great work,
lovely,
great production design. We love
and
that.
cinematic, and it just was like, this is the link that keeps them together and keeps them apart. And it was just so, it was present.
And speaking of the framing of things and the look of things, that moment when Nucky comes into the Commodore's room to say, "I'm out," and the bear right here, wasn't that incredible?
Right.
Yeah, that bear looms.
And it was
And so again, I think
reestablished.
that gives more to the point of, here's your trophy. That's all you wanted for your ego.
Yep.
Is for me to step down. You've got your trophy. Go get drunk, be stupid, and I'm going to be more pragmatic, like the butcher was saying about this.
Yeah, see, I see it completely different. I see the bear, kind of looming over there, absolutely not menacing at all of Nucky, but supporting him, going, "This is who I am." That was how I saw it.
No, I think I would agree.
I feel like you're saying
I
the
would
same
agree with that.
thing.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that as well. That's why I think
okay.
the show's genius. The
Okay.
bear's behind him, strength, but also at the same time, it's just like.
Strength in getting out and,
Well, I
and
think
just
strength
making a
is that
different choice.
I think that even those four of them, he's still stronger. He's
Yes.
probably that.
Oh, yes.
No. I think that down the road, he's stronger. He's
Yeah.
the bear. But also he's the one they've been hunting, and they shot him.
Yep.
And here's your trophy. You've got it.
Right?
Ha,
I see,
congrats
I
with
see,
your
I see.
effing trophy.
I see
But
what
you
you mean.
forgot the rules. You really are shooting someone to have meat.
Right.
You guys got stupid.
Right.
You got emotional.
Yep.
And you shot me, and so again,
Yeah.
but it's great that you guys picked that up because it's great direction. It's great work. I'm always saying, when the best pieces are using every element at their disposal. That's sound design, that's production design, that's costume, that's the lines, that's the acting, it's the camera work, and this show does
Yeah,
it
because they clearly
all.
have an A team for every single
They do. But
category.
guys, we have A teams of 500 channels, right?
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
And you have people working who think they are, and they don't get to this. There's maybe 2 or 3 other shows that get to this level.
I know.
So it's great. I do you guys think that there will be any reconciliation between Eli and Nucky?
No,
No.
I don't. Do you?
Jeez, I don't know. I thought if they did, it would be at this moment, but no, I don't think so either.
I do.
Yeah?
I don't know why. I just, because Eli has nowhere to go.
And we saw Nucky cry and tie the shoes, so maybe.
And
There's a possibility for it.
they were able to converse, and they share a history, which
But
is
he tried to have he tried to have the brother kill you. Well, as he said, as Nucky said, you didn't stop them.
No, he didn't, and he'll probably always hold that against him. Always, because as Eli says, you're not forgiving. You don't know how to forgive.
Right.
You're always holding on to stuff.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I think your brother trying to kill you is something to probably hold on to.
All right. Well, again, because
I would think
he's
so.
a good businessman. He doesn't usually get weak. We don't usually
Right.
see him get weak and make emotional
Right.
decisions and bring
Right.
bad people in. Why did he send Peaches to Cliff Lifer? The
Thanking him for saving his life.
and that's just all it was. But what was the deeper meaning? He
I
sent
don't know.
food.
I don't
So
know.
it was just, is it just playing this defanged Nucky? Is it just to play that role? I would think he was genuine as well, saying thank you.
That's my
Because
first inclination.
because that's what feels like who Nucky is. He'd be a type saying, "No, I thank you very much for having saved my life."
Because he's
I mean,
proper.
he could have sent something nicer, so I think I think it is genuine and sincere, but at the same time, I think there's like a little wink to it. Like,
Well,
you're a
but
peach,
you also
here's
have
a
to,
bunch of peaches.
No, but you have
Right.
to be careful because he's sending something to a federal agent.
Yeah.
It can't look like a bribe.
No.
It needs to look like a more, genuine
I think
European.
you hit the nail on the
So-
head.
And the last thing, I want just a statement about Chalky. It seems, again, just Nucky, he could just go out of office and be fine, but he makes sure he says to Chalky, "Listen, I'm out, but here's what you
Here's some
need
advice.
to do. Go on strike. You want get your people
Yep.
justice. Do it this way. You guys will get everything you need without
Exactly.
bloodshed. Don't
Yep.
go at them. Don't go at them with guns and pitchforks. Go
Hit
at
him where
them
it hurts.
Right. And again, why did he do that? Again, why I like Nucky, it feels like he was just doing it to kind of throw a bone
Yeah.
to Chalky because he's decent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he felt bad about everything.
Okay, so we should go to commercial
Yes.
and come back to quick predictions, right?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Let's go to commercial.
The biggest new media platform on the web just got bigger. More bandwidth, smoother streaming, lightning fast download.
Don't get technical with me.
AfterBuzz TV is making the jump to hyperspace. Join the fun at your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Look at the size of that thing.
AfterBuzz TV.
Okay, Kevin, any predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I think you. Well, we're gonna see Ireland, and I initially thought he was trying to make an escape to Ireland, but I think you've got me now. I flip flopped to believe.
I'm glad I could convince you.
Yeah, I think I'm flip flopped to believe there's a master plan that's cooking. I didn't take the time to, because we go up really quickly, to go to the HBO website or to pause to see who's doing what. It goes by so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to predict.
Okay, mine's ridiculous, but this is what I really want to happen. It's not going to, but the next time the butcher is in the mansion, Jimmy's just going to be like, "Here's my $5,000 lamp. Just take it."
And bye-bye.
I'm always wondering why people just don't do something like that. Like, here's an armoire. It's worth about 10 grand. Just take it.
I think he's going to make us don't ask me for money.
Jimmy,
I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
the butcher.
He's going to tell the butcher, like, don't.
I
you know
see
who
him.
I am. You don't come here making me, disrespecting me. Making it look like I'm some kind of welcher or
Yeah, I think he's going to have it out with his mother. There's going to be some tension there, and she's going to have to do something to wrangle control over him once again.
I'm also glad the Commodore's speaking. I'm not ready to let go of the Commodore.
No, I know. Me too.
So I'm glad like he's speaking a little.
I agree.
I'm glad. I hope we don't, because I was like, God, I know they're probably just going to kill him and get rid of him. I'm sure he's very glad. But I like seeing him back. Hopefully we'll keep him going. I think he's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, the idea of Nucky relinquishing his position as treasurer was making me very nervous tonight. But I thought, he's Steve Buscemi. For God's sake, they can't kill him, So I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen in Ireland with him, with potentially maybe the IRA. That might be part of it because that's been sort of laid in. And what's going to happen with Margaret when she goes back and is Peg.
As Peg.
Faces her past.
Right.
All right, Jess, get that music in.
So that is it. So we will see
Roll
you
us outta here.
next week for Boardwalk Empire. And we're here just right after the show's on, as fast as we can get here. Usually it's about 7:15 on Sundays. So join us next week. We'll see you then.
And we'll get better with our times.
Yeah,
too.
we will.
Wait, Tam, where do we get your jewelry?
Oh gosh, I forget that every time, don't I? Find my website, Tamara Central, rather, TAMARA Central.com, and I'm at Tamara Jewelry on Twitter. You, Kev?
At Undergaro.
And you, Bethany Jaber?
At Bethany with an IE.
At Bethany Jaber. At Bethany.
With an IE.
Beth, I can't wait. I know you're going to start nailing some big roles. I'm so
thank
excited.
You. Thanks. Let's hope so.
No, you're amazing.
I'm ready.
Worker.
You bet you are. You bet you are. All right, so we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.